My child, do not skip this moment. I am speaking to you now with a urgency that comes from love, not fear. The enemy hopes you will leave before I finish speaking because he knows what happens when you listen fully. He knows that truth breaks chains, that light exposes hidden traps, that one moment in my presence can undo years of confusion. Give me 1 minute, just one, because your soul is standing at a crossroads right now. You may feel like this is just another message, just another voice among many, but listen to me closely. This moment was arranged before you ever arrived here. I saw the pressure around you, the quiet exhaustion, the thoughts you keep pushing away because they feel too heavy to face. I know how easy it would be to scroll away, to delay, to say later, but later has already cost you peace before. Stay with me now. There are paths opening and others closing, and the choice is not loud or dramatic. It is subtle and quiet, made in moments like this. I am not here to accuse you or frighten you. I am here because I love you too much to let you walk forward unaware. You have been praying for clarity, even if you didn't use those words. You have been asking for relief, for direction, for something to make sense. This is why you must not leave. 1 minute with me can protect you from years of regret. 1 minute can realign what has been drifting. I am not asking for your perfection, only your attention. Stay, my child, because what I am about to speak is meant to guard your heart and guide your steps. Do not rush past the very moment I am reaching for you. Listen carefully, beloved. I am asking you not with force, but with a voice that knows your weakness and still calls you chosen. If you walk away now, you may never realize the trap that was closing around you. The most dangerous traps are not the ones that look like destruction, but the ones that feel familiar, comfortable, and harmless. I see the patterns forming around you, the quiet compromises, the small distractions that seem innocent but slowly pull you away from what gives life. Stay with me because what I am about to reveal is meant to save you, not just from pain, but from becoming someone you were never meant to be. I know you are tired. I know part of you wants to rest from thinking, from choosing, from resisting. But understand this. Rest does not come from avoidance, it comes from truth. I am not here to overwhelm you. I am here to uncover what has been hidden so it can no longer harm you in silence. The enemy does not need to push you hard if he can simply wait for you to look away. That is why this moment matters. I am giving you clarity before confusion settles in deeper. I am offering light before the path grows darker. You do not have to fight alone, and you do not have to figure everything out right now. All I ask is that you stay. Listen with your heart, not just your ears. Let my words reach the places you avoid. What I reveal will not crush you, it will free you. Remain here with me, because walking away now would mean turning your back on the very help you have been asking for. My child, hear me with seriousness and with hope. 99 out of 100 will ignore this voice and fall without knowing why. Not because they are evil, not because they are foolish, but because they believe the lie that this moment is optional. They believe they have time, that warnings can wait, that clarity will come later. But you are still here, and that is not an accident. Something in you sensed that this mattered, even if you could not explain it. Do not turn away now. Your life depends on hearing this fully, not because I am threatening you, but because direction determines destination. I see how close you have come to certain edges, how often you told yourself you were fine while your spirit felt unsettled. I see the quiet battles, the questions you never voiced, the moments you felt a pull in your heart and ignored it. I'm speaking now to interrupt that pattern. You are not weak for needing guidance. You are wise for staying. Most will choose noise over truth, comfort over correction, distraction over depth. But you, my child, are still listening. That tells me your heart is not asleep. Do not let impatience steal what awareness is trying to give you. Stay until the end, because every word builds upon the last. Leaving early would be like stopping halfway across a bridge. I am leading you somewhere safe, but you must keep walking with me. This is not about fear, it is about life. Remain here, because what you are about to understand will explain things you have felt but never fully understood. I am speaking now, and the darkness is afraid you will listen. That is not poetry, it is truth. Darkness survives in secrecy, in confusion, in half-truths and unanswered questions. The moment you truly listen, it begins to lose its grip. Give me 1 minute, because what you hear next will expose what hath been hidden against you. I know you may be skeptical, cautious, guarded by disappointment from the past. I understand that. But hear me, exposure is not meant to shame you. It is meant to protect you. There are influences around you that do not announce themselves as harmful. There are voices that sound reasonable, feelings that feel justified, paths that look safe. I am about to pull back the curtain, not to overwhelm you, but to equip you. You have felt tension lately for a reason. You have sensed something was off but couldn't name it. That awareness is not anxiety, it is discernment awakening. Stay with me now, because once you see clearly, you cannot be easily deceived again. The enemy fears clarity more than strength, truth more than effort. You do not need to fight harder, you need to see better. That is what I am giving you now. 1 minute in my light can undo years of subtle confusion. Do not underestimate this moment. Do not dismiss this as coincidence. I am reaching you where you are, because I want to lead you where you need to be. Stay, my child. Listen completely. What is about to be revealed will change how you move forward. Comment Jesus, I love you more than life itself if he is truly your everything. My beloved child, hear me now and do not treat this moment as ordinary. I am speaking to you with intention, and nothing about this is accidental. You did not arrive here by chance. You did not pause at this moment because of habit or curiosity alone. I have drawn you here, gently but deliberately, because this moment carries weight far beyond what your natural eyes can see. There are times when heaven leans closer, when the unseen world is more active than usual, and this is one of those times. I need you to understand that what feels like a simple pause in your day is actually a spiritual intersection. Decisions are forming, directions are being set, and silence or attention will shape what follows. That is why I am speaking with urgency and love together. I am not alarmed, but I am alert. I am not fearful, but I am firm. And I am asking you to stay present with me now. There are unseen forces active around you in this very moment. This does not mean you are in danger, but it does mean you are significant. The enemy does not waste effort on what has no value. He does not watch closely what carries no purpose. You have wondered before why distraction seems to follow you so persistently, why your focus is so often pulled away at the exact moment clarity begins to rise. That is not coincidence. Distraction is not a harmless habit. It is a carefully used weapon. It does not shout. It whispers. It does not attack openly. It gently nudges you away from stillness, away from listening, away from depth. The enemy's greatest desire is not to destroy you outright, because destruction draws attention. His greatest desire is silence, distance, and partial listening. He wants you to hear just enough to feel comforted, but not enough to be changed. He wants you to begin, but not to finish. That is why I am calling you now to listen fully. I want you to feel how close I am to you in this moment. You are not exposed, you are not unguarded, you are not alone. My presence surrounds you even as I warn you. I do not speak urgency to frighten you, I speak urgency to protect you. Loving Father raises his voice not because he's angry, but because his child is nearing a road. I see the whole path, not just the next step, and I know where silence would lead you. That is why I interrupt you now. That is why I ask you not to rush, not to multitask, not to half listen. What I am saying to you now is not noise. It is direction. You may feel a tension in your spirit as you listen, a sense that this matters more than you expected. That is because your spirit recognizes my voice even when your mind is still catching up. I created you to respond to truth. I formed you with an inner awareness that stirs when eternity brushes against time. That stirring you feel is not anxiety, it is alignment. It is your soul recognizing that something important is being addressed. Do not suppress that feeling. Do not label it discomfort and move away. Lean in, because clarity often arrives before comfort. I chose you to hear this not because you are perfect, but because you are willing. Willingness is precious in my sight. Many are busy, many are loud, many are confident, but few are willing to stop and listen deeply. You are still here, and that tells me your heart is open, even if it is tired, even if it is wounded, even if it is confused. I am not speaking to you as a stranger. I know your history. I know the moments you almost gave up, the nights you lay awake with thoughts you never spoke aloud, the questions you asked me that felt like they disappeared into silence. I was there then, and I am here now, and this moment is part of the answer you have been waiting for. Understand this clearly, my child. The enemy does not fear your activity as much as he fears your awareness. You can stay busy and still be bound. You can appear strong and still be misled. But when you truly listen, when you become aware of what is shaping your thoughts and guiding your choices, his influence weakens. That is why he works so hard to keep you distracted, emotionally numbed, or constantly rushing. A distracted heart rarely notices subtle danger. A hurried mind often misses gentle guidance. I am calling you out of that pattern now, not with condemnation, but with care. Please support our channel. Our work is dedicated to bringing happiness into your life and guiding you toward devotion to God. If you would like to support us, you can donate through Super Thanks. There are things unfolding around you that you cannot yet see clearly, and that is not a failure on your part. It is simply the nature of walking by faith. But I do not want you walking blindly. I want you walking attentively. Silence toward my voice creates vulnerability, but listening creates covering. Every word you receive now strengthens your discernment for what lies ahead. I am preparing you not just for today, but for days to come. This is why this moment matters. This is why I ask you to remain, to resist the urge to skim, to stay until I finish what I am saying to you. You are chosen, not singled out for harm, but set apart for purpose. And when purpose is near, resistance increases. That does not mean you should fear what is ahead. It means you should listen closely to the one who sees the whole picture. I am not asking you to fight. I am asking you to hear. Hearing precedes wisdom. Wisdom precedes peace. And peace will guide you safely where striving never could. I am also shielding you even as I speak. You are protected by my truth, guarded by my presence, and covered by my love. Nothing can snatch you from my hand while you remain attentive to my voice. That is why I emphasize listening fully. Half-heard truth leaves room for confusion. Fully received truth brings stability. I want stability for you. I want you grounded, not shaken by every feeling or opinion. I want you rooted, not reactive. This begins here, in this moment, with your attention. Do not underestimate the power of one moment of true listening. Entire lives have shifted because someone stayed when it would have been easier to leave. Entire futures have changed because a heart chose awareness over avoidance. You are not late. You have not missed your chance. You are here now, and now is enough. This is the moment I have chosen to speak clearly to you, and I will continue to speak if you continue to listen. Stay with me, my child. Let the noise fade. Let the urgency sharpen your focus, not your fear. You are safe with me. You are seen by me. You are being guided, even now. This moment is not random. It is necessary. And as you listen, you are already stepping into the protection, clarity, and purpose I have prepared for you. My beloved child, I want you to understand something clearly now. Not so you become afraid, but so you become aware. The enemy does not begin with chaos. He begins with quiet. He does not rush you into destruction. He gently guides you into delay. He does not shout lies at you. He whispers reasonable thoughts. He does not always tempt you with what looks evil. He tempts you with what looks harmless, comfortable, and familiar. That is why he wants you to skip. That is why he hopes you will tell yourself, "I'll listen later. I already know this," or "I'm too tired right now." He knows that later is often where truth goes to fade, and tiredness is often where discernment falls asleep. I see the moments when you feel the pull to scroll just a little longer, to distract yourself just enough to avoid stillness. I see when your body feels heavy and your mind feels foggy, and you tell yourself you will return to this when you have more energy. But hear me gently and truthfully. Tiredness is one of his most effective tools, not because rest is wrong, but because exhaustion makes small compromises feel justified. When you are weary, you are more likely to delay obedience, more likely to silence conviction, more likely to ignore that quiet nudge in your spirit that says, "Pay attention." The enemy does not need to overpower you if he can simply wear you down. He also works through doubt, not the loud kind that openly denies me, but the subtle kind that questions timing and importance. Doubt that says, "This isn't really urgent," or "This doesn't apply to me," or "I've heard things like this before." These thoughts feel reasonable, even wise, but they slowly disconnect you from the present moment where grace is being offered. Doubt delays response, and delayed response weakens protection. I am not saying this to accuse you. I am saying it because I see how often you have been pulled away not by rebellion but by distraction. Understand this, my child. Traps rarely look dangerous at first. If they did, few would step into them. They often look like rest, relief, comfort, or harmless distraction. They begin as small choices, small delays, small silences. A warning ignored once feels easy to ignore again. A voice silenced gently becomes quieter over time. Many falls do not begin with a leap into darkness, but with a slow turning away from light. That is why the enemy wants you to skip. Not because this moment alone would destroy him, but because listening fully strengthens your ability to recognize his patterns later. I have watched many stumble not because they were evil, but because they underestimated small warnings. They told themselves they would address things later, pray later, change later, and listen later. Later became a habit, and the habit became distance. Distance became confusion, and confusion made them vulnerable. I do not want that for you. That is why I speak to you now with clarity and love. You are not weak for needing this reminder. You are wise for receiving it. You may not realize this, but staying right now is already an act of spiritual resistance. You are resisting the pull to numb yourself. You are resisting the urge to postpone truth. You are resisting the habit of half attention. Every moment you choose to remain present with me, you weaken the influence that thrives on your absence. The enemy loses ground not when you are perfect, but when you are attentive. I also want you to know that the enemy does not always rush because he is patient. He studies timing. He waits for moments when you are emotionally low, mentally crowded, or physically exhausted. That is when skipping feels reasonable. That is when scrolling feels harmless. That is when doubt feels logical. But I am here with you in those moments, calling you back not with force, but with truth. My voice does not compete for attention. It invites it. An invitation can be ignored, which is why I speak now with urgency wrapped in love. Type, Father, I return home to you if you're running back into His grace. Do not be ashamed of how often you have felt this pull. I already know your humanity. I know how the world demands constant attention, how noise fills every quiet space, how stillness can feel uncomfortable when pain is not yet healed. I am not disappointed in you. I am protective of you. I am pulling back the curtain so you can see what has been influencing you quietly. Awareness is not condemnation. Awareness is freedom. The enemy wants you to skip because skipping keeps patterns intact. Skipping keeps habits unchallenged. Skipping keeps you from seeing clearly how small choices shape long-term outcomes. He does not need you to reject me. He only needs you to postpone me. He does not need you to deny truth. He only needs you to delay receiving it. That is why I ask you now to stay. Not because I am insecure, but because I am intentional. You have already taken a step away from His influence by listening this far. Let that encourage you. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are learning. And learning requires presence. I am not asking you to overhaul your life in one moment. I am asking you to notice, to listen, to recognize that staying matters. Many falls could have been avoided if someone had simply stayed a little longer with truth when it first knocked on their heart. I am with you in this. I am not watching from a distance, waiting to see if you get it right. I am walking with you, guiding you gently, strengthening you quietly. You do not need to fear the enemy's strategies when you are aware of them. Light weakens darkness simply by shining. And right now, light is shining in your understanding. So remain here, my child. Let this awareness settle into you without panic. You are not in danger. You are being prepared. The enemy wants you to skip because he knows what listening will produce. Clarity, discernment, and strength that does not come from effort but from understanding. Stay, because every moment you remain attentive, you grow more rooted. And a rooted heart is not easily shaken. You are doing well by staying. You are choosing wisely by listening. And I am pleased with your willingness to receive what protects you. Continue with me. I am leading you forward, one clear moment at a time. My beloved child, I need you to hear this with calmness and clarity, not fear. What I am about to tell you is not meant to frighten you, but to free you. Your struggle has not been random. Your pain has not been accidental. The confusion, the repeated cycles, the moments where you wondered why the same battles keep returning in different forms, these did not appear out of nowhere. You have been watched, studied, and targeted, not because you are weak, but because you are valuable. The enemy does not waste attention on empty ground. He studies where fruit can grow. He observes where light is present. He watches closely where purpose is forming, even before you fully recognize it yourself. He has seen your wounds, the ones you rarely talk about. He noticed the moments when rejection shaped your thoughts, when disappointment left a quiet mark on your heart. He learned the patterns formed in seasons of loneliness, when you felt unseen and unheard. He paid attention to your habits, not to shame you, but to find places where discouragement could whisper more easily. He noticed when you were strong and when you were tired, when you were confident and when you were questioning everything. This is not because he is powerful, but because he is persistent. And I want you to understand this clearly. Being targeted does not mean you are losing. It means you matter. Many of the attacks you have faced were subtle. They came through thoughts that sounded like your own, feelings that seemed justified, and moments that appeared ordinary. You told yourself you were just tired, just distracted, just overwhelmed. But beneath those moments, there was a quiet attempt to wear you down, to make you doubt yourself, to make you question your worth, to convince you that your struggle defined you. The enemy studies timing. He waits for nights when you are alone with your thoughts. He waits for moments after disappointment, when hope feels fragile. He waits for times when you are doing well, because that is when pride or complacency can quietly enter. None of this is said to alarm you. It is said to awaken you. Your weaknesses were not created by him, but he has tried to use them. Your wounds were not given by me, but I have seen him attempt to reopen them. Your habits did not begin as chains, but he hoped they would become cages. Yet hear me clearly now, my child. Observation does not equal ownership. Just because he watched does not mean he controlled. Just because he targeted does not mean he succeeded. You are still here. You are still listening. You are still seeking truth. That alone tells you that his efforts have limits and my protection has been greater than you realize. There were moments you should have fallen, but you did. Moments when the pressure was heavy, when the temptation was strong, when discouragement nearly convinced you to give up. You thought you survived those moments by chance, by luck, or by your own strength. But it was not chance. It was not luck. It was not you alone. My protection was active even when you did not notice. I placed barriers where you saw none. I delayed things that would have harmed you. I redirected paths quietly, without announcement. I sent help you didn't recognize and removed influences you never knew were dangerous. There were conversations that never happened, opportunities that never opened, relationships that ended suddenly, plans that fell apart without explanation. You may have questioned those moments, even felt frustrated by them. But many of those interruptions were not losses. They were rescues. I was shielding you from what your heart was not yet ready to handle, from what would have deepened wounds instead of healing them. The enemy saw those openings too, but he could not pass where I had already stood guard. I want you to release the thought that you were foolish for struggling. Struggle does not mean failure. It means resistance. It means growth is happening beneath the surface. You were targeted because something in you carries weight, depth, and future impact. The enemy recognized potential long before you did. But hear this, recognition does not give him authority. Authority belongs to me, and I have never removed my hand from your life. Even when you felt alone, you were not unprotected. Even when your prayers felt unanswered, they were not unheard. Even when your mind was clouded, your spirit was still being covered. I have been watching too, but not to accuse, not to exploit, not to wait for you to stumble. I have been watching to guard, to guide, to intervene. My attention has never left you, not for a moment. You may now begin to see patterns more clearly. You may recognize how certain thoughts always appeared after specific emotions, how certain temptations followed specific wounds. This awareness is not meant to overwhelm you. It is meant to empower you. What is exposed loses its power to operate in secret. The enemy relies on darkness and repetition. I rely on light and truth. And now, truth is reaching you gently, steadily, without panic. I want you to know something deeply personal. I never blamed you for what you didn't understand. I never withdrew because you struggled. I never stepped back because you were tired. My protection was non-conditional and no perfection. It was rooted in my love. When you were weak, I was strong for you. When you were confused, I remained clear. When you were vulnerable, I stayed near. You are not behind because of what you have faced. You are not damaged beyond repair. You are not marked for defeat. You are marked for redemption, for clarity, for strength that comes from understanding rather than striving. What once confused you will soon teach you. What once hurt you will no longer control you. What once targeted you will no longer intimidate you, because you are beginning to see. Let this truth settle in you without fear. Yes, you were watched. Yes, you were studied. Yes, you were targeted. But you were also protected, guided, and preserved. The enemy saw your wounds, but I saw your heart. He studied your habits, but I shaped your future. He looked for weakness, but I supplied grace. And grace has always been stronger. You are still standing because I have been holding you. You are still listening because I have been calling you. You are still here because this story is not over. Lift your head, my child. You are not a victim of unseen forces. You are a child under my care. And now that you see more clearly, you will walk more confidently, not in fear, but in trust, knowing that the one who protects you has always been with you and always will be. My beloved child, come closer in your heart now, because what I am about to speak is tender, honest, and filled with care. I want you to look back, not with shame, but with understanding. There were silent traps along your path, traps that did not announce themselves with danger or fear. They came quietly, wrapped in emotion, disguised as coping, survival, or reason. You almost walked into them, not because you wanted darkness, but because you were trying to survive pain. I saw every step. I saw how close you came. And I want you to know this before anything else. You are here now because I intervened. Discouragement was one of the first traps. It did not arrive suddenly. It crept in slowly, through unanswered prayers, delayed hopes, and repeated effort that seemed to bring little change. You told yourself you were just being realistic, just lowering expectations so you wouldn't be hurt again. But discouragement was trying to convince you to stop expecting anything from me at all. There were moments when you felt your strength draining, when waking up felt heavier than going to sleep, when you wondered if your efforts mattered. You were closer than you realized to accepting a life smaller than the one I designed for you. I saw that moment. I felt the weight in your heart, and I strengthened you quietly. I gave you just enough light to take one more step when you felt like stopping entirely. Isolation followed close behind. Not physical isolation at first, but emotional withdrawal. You began to keep more to yourself, to assume others wouldn't understand, to believe it was easier not to explain your pain. You smiled when you were with people and fell apart when you were alone. Isolation told you that silence was safer than vulnerability. It whispered that your burdens were too much for others, that your wounds made you difficult to love. You almost believed it. You almost built walls so high that even my voice would have sounded distant. But I stepped in. I sent comfort when you least expected it. I reminded you, again and again, that you were not created to carry everything alone. Compromise came subtly, dressed as flexibility. You told yourself it was harmless to bend a little, to loosen certain convictions, to make peace with things that once unsettled your spirit. You didn't plan to drift far, only to rest. But compromise rarely announces where it leads. You only asked for a small step, then another. You were closer than you think to normalizing what once troubled you, to silencing the inner check that kept you aligned with truth. I watched your heart wrestle. I saw the discomfort you tried to ignore, and I blocked paths you didn't see. I made certain choices feel empty even when they seemed convenient. The discomfort was not guilt. It was my protection. Then there was numbness. Perhaps the quietest trap of all. You grew tired of feeling deeply because feeling deeply meant hurting deeply. So you learned to dull your emotions, to distract yourself, to stay busy, to scroll, to fill every quiet space. Numbness promised relief, but it came at a cost. It muted joy along with pain. It dimmed your sensitivity to my presence. You almost accepted a version of life where nothing hurt much, but nothing healed either. I saw you there. I saw how you survived by shutting parts of yourself down, and I did not condemn you. I waited patiently until you were ready to feel again. I allowed restlessness to stir, not to punish you, but to awaken you. Say, I am forever grateful, Jesus, if He has transformed your heart and life, and share this video.